What would make your grandpa proud? Not to get too cheesy or sentimental or anything, but that's something I think about a lot. I looked up to my grandfathers. Both of them have passed now, but they were two people that I looked up to a lot, and also are probably the main reasons I ever cared about any of this stuff to begin with. Knives, pens, flashlights, gear, trinkets, all that stuff. I think more so than even my father, my grandparents, my two grandfathers more specifically, were why I love all this stuff. So that's why I asked you a few weeks ago to show me the carries that would make your grandpas proud. So here we are with another EDC Weekly and shit that would make your grandpa proud. And with that said, let's do the damn thing. And while we're on the subject of things that would make my grandpa proud, I feel like that's a perfect segue into one of our channel sponsors here on the channel, Big Idea Design. My grandfather, my father's father, absolutely loved pens, and he would have loved Big Idea Design. They've supported the channel for a long time. They make more than just pens though. They have pocket tools, all sorts of stuff. My grandpa would have been completely outfitted in their stuff. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Worksharp. Here's your reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. And again, going back to my grandpa, he probably could have used a worksharp over whatever he used to sharpen these. This is actually one of his knives here. I don't know what he used to sharpen this. All of the knives that I inherited of his, super dull. So go check out Worksharp. They have a lot of really cool things like this new folding field sharpener. It is their newest product and it's very cool. It has a clip, it has a diamond plate and a fine ceramic. You can keep your stuff sharpened on the go. And then finally, Huckberry. If you have seen the stuff I've been wearing lately, pretty much everything in videos has been from Huckberry, but they have more than just clothing. And in fact, if you click the link in the description down below, there is a page you can go to that is all of my favorite stuff on Huckberry. You can go check it out. There's knives, there's speakers, there are dry boxes, all kinds of stuff. Go check it out, all down below. And thank you to all of our channel sponsors. And now on to your carries. So we've been doing more of these EDC weeklies lately, and I'm actually enjoying them a lot more now, and I think this new format helps where I'm not choosing the carries. However, we need more submissions to keep making the EDC weeklies. So if you want to know more about a giveaway we're doing and how you can help with that, just watch the video. At some point later in the video, we'll tell you about a giveaway and what you can do to help the show. All right, so if you're not familiar with the newest format that we're doing here on the EDC Weekly, I didn't choose these carries. I told you guys to submit, and then I had Ricky choose these carries. So this is my first time seeing these, and I actually really prefer it this way because it is like going through them together, and you get my real reaction versus me having already gone through and seen them and picked this stuff out myself. This is all from Ricky. So one, go follow Ricky, give him some love. I guess he deserves it. I mean, you're welcome, Ricky. All right, so the very first submission this week comes from Jassen Santamaria, who we have definitely seen on the channel here before. It is atongs_EDC over on Instagram. And this one's really cool. We've got like a case knife there with some bone, like a jigged bone handle, as well as a brass through knife. I'm just gonna read the description. That's probably smarter. It is not a through knife, it's a lumen-top tool in titanium. It looks like brass. Sorry, not sorry. There's also a generic bolt action pin, an Olight i3S in copper, and finally, like I said, there is a Stockman. It's a large Stockman in the center there, which again, exactly like my grandpa's knife. This is an old timer, but he had some case knives as well. So I will be interested to see what like the differences are for what you guys feel like your grandpa's carry would have been like. Obviously, knife selection was a lot more limited back in the day, but will be cool to see some of this stuff. My grandpa, just as like an aside real quick, he had a pocket protector with some pins in it. He also had a flashlight on him a lot of the time. One little traditional knife like this with a couple of blades. Very simple carry, but it was always there. My other grandpa, I don't know, he introduced me to Leatherman. So, I don't know, there's a big difference in what they would have carried because they were very different people. One of my grandpas was a photographer for a news station. The other was a farmer and a plant manager. So, very different carries, and I'm just interested to see how yours will vary. Jassen says, I submitted this photo a few months back, but it didn't make it because of EDC Weekly, or make it to the EDC Weekly. When Taylor said that the next theme would be a grandpa's carry or something that would make them proud, I immediately thought of this particular set. Whenever I think of something that my father or grandfather would actually carry, it would look something like this, minus the pirate coin, unless Peter McKinnon or Raven the Pirate's your grandpa, LOL.
Attaboy.
Anyway, I carry this set mostly on Sundays when I go to church or whenever I feel it suits the occasion. I want to carry something that has a sense of class and still be able to help myself and other people whenever I need to without looking too tactical. Jassen also says he's not looking for anything in particular right now, but he said, if this submission makes it, this would be my 4th. All the best, Taylor and Ricardo. Sending love from Manila, Philippines. Also sending love back to you. Thank you for submitting and being so attentive. Ricky said not many people mentioned this actual theme here, but this one would have been chosen. The case large stockman is as classic as it gets. And this is a really cool photo, so thank you for sharing. Again, Jassen. This next submission comes from Tyson Hiseler, or you can find him over on Instagram at Sparrows EDC. In this photo, we have an Otter Messer anchor slip joint with a bone handle. That's cool. I've actually handled one of those of Ricky's, actually. We also have a work center multi-tool. I'm not familiar with that. And then finally, we have a Monterey Watchco EBC Basecamp GMT. My grandpa's also liked, well, one of my grandpas really liked watches as well. I believe he wore a Seiko. One of those Seikos with the bracelet that was a little bit elastic, you know what I mean. Work center, is that just like a generic one? I like the finish on the handles. It kind of looks like an old Leatherman. I like that watch too. I'm a huge sucker for a steel bezel on a watch. Like, huge sucker. Tyson says, I'm answering the call for a carry that would make my grandpa proud. He always had an old slip joint on him and loved German craftsmanship, so I selected my Otter Messer. The multi-tool was his. Years back, he gave me an old toolbox, and this tool was sitting in the bottom of it. Looks like it was a store-branded tool, and I'm not sure who made it. I carried it for years before I started collecting EDC gear. The watch is something I received recently for some work I did for the company. Monterey makes great timepieces that won't break the bank. I couldn't be happier with it. My grandpa swore by having an automatic watch on his wrist at all times. Though all this isn't from his era, I feel like he would have loved carrying these pieces. Not really looking for anything in particular, but I always have my eyes open for something interesting. What's the most useful gadget you've acquired recently? It's not really EDC, but something I got this week. I bought it because I got got. I got by a Facebook ad for what's called Pocket Dispo, and it's a lens that mounts on my Sony cameras. It's a 3D printed case that mounts to E-mount for Sony that holds a disposable camera lens. It's a little bit gimmicky, but I think it gives some stuff a really cool look to it. I can throw up a picture here if you want to see it. It's cool, but it's not EDC gear. I don't know. We're about to test out a lot of different EDC gear. So maybe just stay tuned for your answer there, because we're testing things. I guess the best way to put it is I'm going through all these Facebook ads, buying them all, and then we're going to put them to the test. So maybe that's actually something that answers this question for me. And going back to what you said about like none of this stuff really being available when your grandpa was around, but stuff he would carry. I totally feel that. And that's what I mean about like this big idea design stuff. My grandpa in his pocket protector had a little Phillips screwdriver, like, I don't know how to explain it. Almost like an eyeglass screwdriver, but a little bit bigger. And it had a pocket clip on it. And I feel like he would have loved some of this newer stuff like this, right? Like things that he could carry with him and keep his stuff sharp, especially like being out in the field as a farmer and stuff. He really used his knives. I got a lot of them when he died. And this is one of the nicer ones. It's got a bolster broken off. The knife is very worn down. It's just not in great shape, but he had a bunch of them, and he would have probably liked to have some of these other tools that would have made his life a little bit easier. Next up, we have a submission from Gerd. Gerd from Germany. Okay, no social media. This actually looks like a true vintage carry. It's pretty cool. He says, from top to bottom, or no, top right to bottom left, we have a Kinzel automatic watch with Elasto Fixo band. That's exactly what I mean. That's the kind of bracelet my grandpa had, made in Germany. A coin. He has 25 centimes, Kingdom of Belgium, 1922. Petrol lighter, brand is Ewall, and the model number is 531. He has a pocket knife that's out of Germany, rustproof, which is rust-proof blade, so stainless. He has a Coca-Cola bottle opener, a Kaweco mechanical pencil, 900 in silver, Ogia fountain pen, celluloid with stainless steel nib. We have a cigarette case, silver-plated, and then we have a petrol lighter, aluminum, pre-war, and then finally a handkerchief underneath everything. Wow, that's all. Gerd says, my beloved grandpa Willem died in 1983 at the age of 78 when I was 13. He was a master baker, and I spent a lot of time with him as a child in the bakery after work. He always told me stories, played with me, and drew for me. He always said that a boy should have a pocket knife and a piece of string in his pocket. He also gave me my first Victorinox for my birthday when I was 9 or 10. I got his EDC from my grandma and I've treasured it ever since. It wasn't called EDC back then, but it was his stuff that he always had with him and used every day. I grew up with it and can't imagine life without EDC, but to show how it all started for me and to honor him, I sent you my grandpa's EDC. I hope you like it. Best greetings from Germany, Gerd. P.S. Unfortunately, my brother died last March at the age of 48. His wife brought me his EDC, which I now also keep. Wow. That's a true, like, hand-me-down carry from your grandpa, which is really, really neat. Also, condolences, and I'm so sad to hear about your brother, but that's also cool that his wife passed on his stuff to you. Very, very neat. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, none of this stuff is branded, really, other than like Vaco, because it's all really old stuff, but it's also really worn and actual heirloom timepieces, or not timepieces, but pieces passed down from your family. That's cool, and probably one of the coolest submissions that we've had here on the show. So thank you, Gerd. Next up, we have a submission from Will. No social media, just Will. That's all we got. In this photo, we have a Bison leather wallet at the top, and next to that is a Timex Expedition field watch. And below that, or next to the watch, we have a 6-inch Craftsman crescent wrench, as well as a Milwaukee Fastback 1505. Your boy Zach would be super proud of this. And also, Zach should have submitted this, because I feel like everything Zach carries would make my grandpa proud. Zach carries stuff that would make my grandpa more proud of him than me. So, yeah. Thanks for submitting, Zach. And then finally, we have a Camelus lockback knife with leather belt sheath. If that's a true US-made Camelus knife, that's actually probably worth something, just for the record. Went to an antique store around here and bought a Camelus knife that was USA made for 30 bucks, I believe, 20, 30 bucks at the antique store. Brought it back, actually made a video about this, brought it back, and it ended up being like $200 or $300 knife. Will says, this is the carries that would make your grandpa proud, and I think the Camelus knife is a perfect example. My grandpa gave it to my dad, and my dad has given it to me, so it is definitely, if it's been around for that long, it's definitely USA made, which is cool. It's seen lots and lots of wear and tarnish, and it's still a great knife. Everything in my carry has seen quite a bit of use, even the Milwaukee 1505, which is the newest thing on my list. Thank you, Zach in the Wild, for getting me on this awesome utility knife. And he's not looking for anything to add to his carry because it's perfect, right? Totally perfect carry. Thanks for the call out for Zach as well. If you're not, go check him out. He's actually on Instagram active right now, going around the country as Worksharp in the Wild. They're doing the quest again, and he's hiding 35 boxes. I don't know how far into it he is, but go check it out. If you miss Zach, you can get your Zach fix over on Instagram. That's a really cool carry, Will, and thank you for sharing. Nothing more than it needs to be, and all well-used gear. The last submission this week comes from Johnathan Burton, our good friend JB, or the Bearded Burton over on Instagram. Can't wait for Georgia Bushcraft. The hangs are always awesome, but JB is one of a kind, and I'm sure this carry is gonna have some pretty interesting stuff in it, like a folding fork. All right, let's just read the list. From top left to right, my grandpa's Stanley number 233 Yankee handyman push drill screwdriver that's missing a few bits. He also has a Together Made X Wazoo collab wallet with Right in the Rain pen and pad. That is in the top right. We have his grandpa's sterling silver and abalone shell shirt collar tips. That's cool as hell. His grandpa's necklace and ring, both handmade, Navajo silver, turquoise, and real brown bear claws inlaid. That's also cool as hell. Old Zippo lighter that was a wedding gift from his groomsman, as well as his grandpa's Camco electrician's pocket knife. Also pretty cool. We have an LT Wright hand-cut next-gen narrower blade profile A2 steel, bow-coat wood handles with black liners and matching bead. We also have his grandpa's Press Button Knife Co. Civil War Veterans Knife, is what it's known as. It was manufactured between 1890s and 1910. The idea was for amputees being able to both slice their food and eat with the fork. Oh, so it's not just a fork. You use it as a knife, and then, so if you only have one hand. Interesting. I've never seen that. That's really cool. Finally, we have a handmade awl from his friend Caleb, Bushwalker Outdoors. The antler handle was from the last deer his grandpa killed before passing away. Also pretty neat. JB says, love this, guys. Thanks for letting us share. My grandpa would say, always leave the house looking your best with the tools you need. Multiple blade options, ways to tighten and loosen stuff, punch holes, and take notes. Finally, JB says he needs help selling stuff he doesn't use. Well, I'll see you at Georgia Bushcraft. Maybe I'll pick something up this year because I've been selling off all my stuff, and maybe I'll be buying other people's stuff. I should probably not buy anything, but I might anyway. That's really cool. I actually really like that Zippo too. That's really neat. The engraving on that is cool. Well, anyway, JB, thank you for sharing. This stuff is obviously some of the most unique we've ever seen. Definitely never seen a veteran's amputee knife. Wow, crazy. So with that said, thank you all for submitting. Continue to do so. Just go to edcw.co. You can submit your carry there. And the way that we're going to choose the next theme for the next EDC Weekly is a giveaway. We're going to choose a comment. So tell us in the comments down below what you think the next theme should be. If we choose your comment, then we're going to send you a bum bag from Carry Commission. Either a bum bag or a bum bag XL if we don't have one or the other in stock. We'll send one to you. Everything we talked about in this video will be linked down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on.